Hi everybody, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Saturday, September 19th of the year 2020, and this is my 37th FlossTube. So as always, I want to welcome you all. Welcome back to my current viewers and subscribers, and welcome to anyone that's watching my videos for the first time. I want to thank you, all of you, for your support, for deciding to spend a lot of time with me. I hope that you like what you see, and for the new viewers, I hope that you find a reason to stay and subscribe and to continue to follow me on my stitching journey. This week was definitely a busy week, both stitching wise and real life. School is definitely back in session. It felt like this week was kind of like a let's get down to business type of week. So yeah, so I definitely had an interesting week. And then last night we had an earthquake. We had a 4.8 or 4.6 earthquake here in Los Angeles. It was like the epicenter was a mere 12 miles from my place. So I happened to be on Zoom. I was on Virtual Stitchers last night, and in the midst of all the talking, I was just like, I gotta go. It looks like we're having an earthquake. It was like this awkward but surreal thing. So that was a little bit of excitement, unwanted excitement, but there it is. Yeah, sorry for that little tangent. I did stitch on a lot of things this week, as I mentioned, a lot of variety. So without further ado, let's get to the stitching. As I mentioned previously, there's a few whips that I'm working on that have kind of sort of become my weekend projects. It wasn't intentional, it just happened to happen that way. One of them is my Tilt and Crafts chart. This is Snow Girl, based on Daniel Cordick's artwork, and this has been one of my main focuses this year. I'm using this for 20 and 20 challenge and full coverage fanatics. So as the name implies, I have to stitch 20,000 stitches in the year 2020. Next year it'll be 21 and 21, which is exciting. I'm glad it came back. So this week I put in 750 stitches on her, well, or on the apple, I suppose. I used this for one of the magical stitches homework that we had this week, where we had to stitch on something, or a project that had something that we would take to a desert island. So I said I would bring food. Apple is food item. So yeah, so she got 750 stitches. I also used this for an enchanted stitching challenge, where we had to stitch on something, a design that had either a design name or a designer name that started with K, Q, R, or J. So K for Cordick. But there we go. Once I finished those 750 stitches, it actually got me to 18,000 stitches, a little over 18,000 stitches stitched so far this year. So I'm very excited. I feel like I'm really on the home stretch now. I don't think I'll be able to finish the 20 and 20 challenge this month, but for sure early next month. Like you're only gonna be seeing this. I know she's a fan favorite, but you're only gonna be seeing her for a couple more videos, and then she'll be put away for a little bit until the beginning of next year. But I'm excited though. Like, that just means it's a goal that's close to being done. Another piece that I worked on this week is a piece that I hadn't really worked on in a bit, even though it should have been one of my focuses. This is Bilbo's Home by Mandarinx Designs is the name of the designer. She's on Etsy. And I started this on January 1st for my new year, new start. But I haven't really worked on it as much as I wanted to. The purpose was to finish it by the end of this year. I didn't want to bring it into the new year, but as it is, I think, I don't know if I'll be able to, I think I will be able to finish it. This is what I've done so far. I used this for a enchanted stitching challenge, and the prompt was to stitch on a whip that had either pants or teeth, because we're watching, I should have mentioned this before mentioning the first homework, but we're watching we're focusing on Inside Out this month. So the letters were because of the card, when they go into Riley's subconscious or whatever, they find like the Tower of Cards. So the only difference is that there's an R for Riley hidden in there. So that's where the letters came from. And this one is because she has a dream, your typical like nightmares, where she's wearing no pants and her teeth are falling out. So I haven't stitched Bilbo yet, but he's wearing pants, and you can see that in this design. That was the other thing, is it needed to be something that was clearly visible on the design. So the design, you can see, I mean, he has the back facing to us, but I mean, you can see the suspenders, and here are his green pants. So yeah, so I thought that would be a good opportunity to bring this out. So I did the 250 stitches for that prompt, but I'm also using this for I used this, so those 250 stitches I also used for a monthly task in Magical Stitches, where we had to stitch on a dream project. So I chose this because I really admired it. Like I looked at that design for a long time before taking the plunge. And in addition to that, I started doing another segment of the ultimate stitching tasks, which are 500 stitch increments. I still have, I think, like just under 200 stitches to go on that segment. So overall, I would say I stitched about 500 or 600 stitches on this week so far. So I'll finish up that task today. Yeah, so this week I focused on, so I did more of the door frame over here on this side, and then you can see that it's actually really funny because it wasn't until I looked at this on camera when I was filming my video in Spanish that I realized that that was the whole door handle. I was just stitching on this and I was just following the pattern. I remember thinking, I'm like, well, this is an odd choice of colors to be like around all that green, and now I realize why. It's the door handle. But I also finished up the half stitches within this scenery. There's still a ton of half stitches to go down here, but I did want to finish them up because the way that Pattern Keeper accepts this is it doesn't recognize half stitches, because it's essentially the same symbol, just slightly smaller, but it doesn't recognize the difference. So it just has the one symbol for both half stitch and full stitches. So I have to look at this other version of the pattern where it omits all the half stitches. So if I see a symbol like in Pattern Keeper, but it's not on that version of the pattern, then it means it's half stitch, and it's tedious, and you have to keep looking back and forth between two different patterns. So I decided, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it all this time around, so I can just, you know, power through afterwards. And then pretty much the entire floor is done on half stitches, but I'll just focus on that after I finish this upper area. But yeah, it's coming along really well. So this is going to be 2 more Hobbit houses. And then of course the other smoke is Bilbo's cup of tea. But yeah, again, I always love working on this. I love the colors on this. I already have another one of her patterns in mind for when I finish this, except well, you know, I am going to be participating on the New Start Challenge, so if I don't get a chance to finish, I'll probably end up starting it anyway, because that's just the kind of person I am at this time. The next piece I worked on is one of my styles. So as I mentioned previously, I'm participating in the Frankenstein style this time around from Stitching Book Club, and I took the time this week to finish up the section that she had released earlier this month. So I finished that up. There we go. I finished it up, and as you can see, I did add the stars for this bottom seam. I used some opal thread that I had in my stash so that I could, it's not showing up very well on camera, but it does sparkle. It does sparkle in real life. And then for this seam up here, let me see if I can, I don't know if that's gonna make much of a difference, but I did the lightning bolt in that same thread. And then I made the decision that I wanted a pop of color. Even though the main seam is going to be done in mostly gray, I wanted to have a pop of this variated thread in each seam. So that's I decided to go ahead and do the windows with that thread, and I liked it. I thought it was a relatively easy stitch to do. The next part has been released. It came out this morning. So and it made me very happy. It just made me more sure of my decision to add the gray, because otherwise it would have been way too busy. There's a motif with just like diamonds or a mandala over here, and then there's another scene over here. So yeah, so I look forward to working on that this week and the next, probably, because I usually take my time with this. Even though I'm like super excited about it, I want to, you know, enjoy it, kind of take my time with it. We just had the first discussion day this morning as well, so this morning I did take the time to kind of answer all the questions that she put up on Instagram, and it's been very interesting to see what other people have, or what answers other people have in there. So yeah, so keep an eye on the responses, because it's interesting. It's interesting to see what other people think of the story. Another piece that I worked on this week is another Heaven and Earth designs of mine. This is Moon Charmer by Amy Stewart, and I'm using this, or used this because I already finished. I'm using this for one of Full Coverage Fanatics events. They did a Tour de France event this time around. Originally wasn't supposed to happen because they thought it was going to be canceled because of COVID, you know, the real life event. But when they found out that it was going to happen, they just decided to have the event as well. And I've been working on this for the last 3 weeks. It's technically, you were supposed to work on it the same way that the athletes were going to be doing the sporting event. So, you know, you do maybe like 170, 200 stitches here and there to ultimately reach the goal. But I have no idea at this point. I don't know. I mean, I have a vague idea, but ultimately I didn't know how much stitching time I was going to get this week, so I decided to power through last weekend and just finish it. And I ended up doing more than the called for stitch count, because I was also using this for an ultimate stitching task in Magical Stitches. So at the end of the day, I did in the span of, you know, 3 weeks, I guess, almost 3 weeks since the beginning of the month, I've done 3,800 stitches. So here we are. The focus for the last segment, I guess, since you last saw it, was still here at the bottom. I finished up most of the pine green that is used in the trees, and I'm doing a blue now. It's DMC 336, so it's a dark blue. The goal for this piece was to reach 50,000 stitches by the end of this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, so I was thinking, because once I finished this this challenge, it brought me to 36,000, so I'm thinking of just cutting it down to 40,000 so that I can just go ahead and focus on it for 4,000 more stitches and then move on to another piece. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing, because I definitely want to touch a lot more projects that haven't been getting a lot of attention. I was looking through my whips the other day and I kind of low-key forgot about my Carolyn Manning full coverage piece, the C-class piece, which I adore that piece. It's gorgeous. But Leanne of Leanne Stitches posted her progress picture earlier this week, and I kind of was like, oh yeah, I have that piece too. So I think that's gonna be coming up soon, because again, it's just one piece that I completely fell in love with when I saw it, and it really hasn't gotten much attention since the they called it the Manic Manning Sal, because it started doing Mania. And that's it. Like, I haven't really touched it ever since. So it definitely needs attention. All that to say is that this is probably going to be going away sooner rather than later. The next piece I worked on is it was for another enchanted stitching challenge. We needed to work on a piece for 1,965 stitches, because that's the distance that they need to travel when the family moves to San Francisco. And I was already partially done with that one. I'm using my Hogwarts piece for it, my Hogwarts Castle piece. This is by the Stitching Girl on Etsy. It's no longer listed, but I know there's a couple of different Etsy shops that have this design charted. So I'm sure if you Google it, if you search it on Etsy, you probably can still find something similar. And this one was also a milestone for me this week. Once I finished up those I didn't stitch 1,900 stitches all in 1 week. I stitched 750. I used this for the second task, the penalty stitch option for the second task. For magical stitches, we were supposed to work on something that we would find under the sea. I mean, I guess you can find rocks under the sea, but I just decided to go for the penalty stitch option. So again, more black, nothing too exciting to see. I did finish up this streak, I guess, of other colors. It's a lot of blues, which of course, like, when you look at it from afar, it's the boulders, it's all the rocks where Hogwarts stands. But yeah, most of it was done on black, doing all the black. And once I finished those 750 stitches, I actually reached 72,000 stitches total, which my goal is 80,000. So for this one, I would need to do 8,000 more stitches in the span, well, I mean, in the rest of the year, if I want to reach that goal. And for this one, I do want to make the effort. For this one, I don't want to change that goal, because I do want to finish it next year. So I'll stick to 80K, and I'll just focus on it more than any, well, not more than any other whip, but just more consistently. I guess it's the same thing. But point being is, I still want to reach that 80K. Another whip that I worked on this week is one of my sals. I'm participating on Lakeside Needlecraft's Time to Stitch sal, which started July 1st, I think. July, August. Yeah, because we've had 3 parts so far, so one per month: July, August, September. I'm still not done with this month's part. I started late. I do intend to keep up for the most part, so I kept going. So you can tell these are the little foot, the clock's base, I guess. I finished the base, and so here we have the start of the actual clock itself. And I did go ahead and start with the detailing, because that's always the slowest part, and this particular design is very tedious when it comes to the detailing. So knowing that, I decided to go ahead and do the back stitch for that section once I finished it. And I also did start doing the what is that, a cog? Cogs and screws, right? But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I wasn't too convinced about the colors. Like, when I saw that it was going to be a bunch of reds and pinks, I was like, really? But it looks okay. Like, it grew on me. But I still have a lot more to do. I haven't even started on, again, the detailing. This one's still, I don't think it has as much gold detailing as other parts have had in the past, but it's still quite a bit. So I'll keep focusing on this. Hopefully I may just finish it like at the beginning of the month and then just move straight on to the next part, but we'll have to see. I did use that for a couple of the, well, just the one, I guess. No, 2. Yeah, 2. 2 of the prompts for enchanted stitching. We needed to work on something that we found confusing, because they started going into this, like, the emotions start going into like this abstract room, so they had no idea what was going on. So I used that because, again, the pattern can be very confusing to handle, since she gives you like several different versions of the pattern, and it's hard. For me, the most confusing thing really is that she doesn't have a specific pattern that tells you exactly how it aligns with the parts that are adjacent to it. So you kind of have to do a little bit of math and just double check and make sure you have, so you have to pull up the other patterns with the other parts to kind of put the 2 and 2 together. And I also used this for a prompt where we had to stitch on something that we would use to wake up Riley. So obviously clocks, right? Alarm clocks. That's what they're made for, to wake people up. So yeah, so I was able to go ahead and just do those tasks, and you know, still work towards my own personal goals. The other style that I worked on, that I started this month because it is Sampler September, I started working on the Linen and Threads mystery style from this year, from 2020. I have no intentions of catching up. We're already in September, so there's already 9 parts out, and I just started with January. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going on this, but I don't have any intentions of catching up at all. But this is what I did this week, and I was actually working on this yesterday while I was on Virtual Stitchers. It's nice and easy. I don't have to worry about color changes. The pattern is really easy to follow. So there's counting involved, but it's all just repetitive patterns. So once you get the hang of it, you just have to keep going. So from the last time you saw it, I think I finished up like a couple of triangles going down this way, and then this line in the bottom, and then this last triangle over here, and then everything else is new, right? So I did this motif within this ribbon, and then I did this small one over here, and then I started this big one over here. So I think for January there's a butterfly right here next to it, and then the initials, but I'm not gonna do the initials. Yeah, I know that's kind of like the point. The name of the sampler is Friends and Family, but I have no idea who I would even like. I have a really big family, so I feel like I have way too many options, so I'm just not gonna do any of them. Sorry, not sorry. But from what I understand, there's motifs that you can use to replace those initials. So yeah, and if not, then it still looks good without them. I don't mind. I mean, I've seen plenty of other people that have omitted them and it looks just fine like that. But yeah, that is, oh wait, false, I was gonna say that was the last thing I worked on. It was not, I lied. Wednesday was Mexican Independence Day. This is the bag for linen threads. Wednesday was Mexican Independence Day, so I did go ahead and work on my Katrina pattern. This is by Yanni Stitcher here on FlossTube and Instagram. It's a beautiful pattern. I totally fell in love with when I saw it. I also got another one of her designs. It's a Lady Wing Designs. Zakia is working on that one. It's called Mexicanita, Mexican girl, little Mexican girl. So I got both. I have both, but I wanted to do this one first. And I stitched on it Tuesday and Wednesday, only to find out that I made a huge mistake, multiple mistakes, and so now I have to frog. Like, so here's what I've done so far. So yeah, so from the last time you saw it, I can't exactly remember. I think it was just mostly this forehead right here, and then I worked my way down, and then I worked my way around the chin and up. Actually, it was backwards. This is the side that I started on. I went like this. I made some mistakes somewhere along the way. I have no idea where I made the mistake, but a couple of mistakes were made, and so what that meant for me was that even though the pattern is not perfectly symmetrical, like her face is not perfectly symmetrical, her eyes were still going to be lopsided, and I was going to have to fudge all the face paint that is within, you know, within the black. So I don't know if you guys can see they're red and yellow. I think they're supposed to be like tiny flowers within, or just flower patterns within the face paint. I was gonna have to fudge all of that as well. It was too much, it wasn't gonna work. So I'm gonna have to frog everything. And then when I realized I made that mistake, I said, it's okay, I'll just work on the border instead. And then I ended up making a mistake there too. I fixed it, but what I had done was this middle triangle right here, that's one stitch first and then 3 stitches. I made it the same as these two. So I made it 2 stitches and then 4 stitches, which of course scooted this this triangle further 1 stitch, and you know, that just it messed everything up. So I frogged it, fixed it, because I had already done like 2, you can see it here, you can kind of see where I frogged everything. I had already done 2 more rows before I realized my mistake. So yeah, so this is kind of on a timeout corner. I'll just have to pick at it. I'll just have to frog all the white. I can still keep going with the paper mache flags at least, but because I did fix that mistake. But still, after making that mistake, I was not exactly in the mood to keep going on it. But yeah, that really was all that I worked on this week. Again, quite a bit of variety. I feel good though. It was really nice to hit those milestones, like with Harry Potter and Moon Charmer. Yeah, I feel like I can definitely reach, and Snow as well. For Snow, it's again, I feel like I'm on the home stretch for that one as well. which is a good feeling. It's kind of late in the year, later in the year than I would like for those kinds of milestones, but I'll take it. And yeah, I do want to go ahead and use one of my hates now for my focus. So now that Snow Girl is going to be pretty much done, I want to use my Midnight Stroll, which is my Faint, I call it the Faint Fairy because Julie Faint is one of the artists for Hate, and she does a lot of silhouettes and a lot of fairies. So Faint Fairy. But she's going to be my next focus piece, my next weekend piece, so to speak, from now until probably the end of the year, because that is going to be a gift eventually, so she does need a lot of focus time. But yeah, that's really all that I had to show you guys this week. I'm very excited for the coming week. I'm excited to work on the Frankenstein style, and yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can reach any of the goals. Maybe Snow Girl again, but I'm not gonna push myself because I only have 10 more days left in the month. But thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions about what you saw today, you're more than welcome to leave a comment. I always put the links to everything down below in the description box. If I do miss something though, please feel free to tell me. And yeah, just any comments. Again, the part that I like most about being here on FlossTube is the interaction. So yeah, anything you have to say, I will be more than happy to hear it. You're also more than welcome to reach out to me via Instagram, and I can always respond on there as well. But yeah, I hope you guys have a very good weekend. I hope that you have a productive week, and that you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.